Hello and a very warm welcome to the first ever Senior Citizens Awards on CNN-IBN in association with the Paranjpe schemes. I'm Mugdha Kalra, and on today's episode we will talk about the idea behind these unique awards that seek to honor the good work done by our golden generation. There is a growing need for acknowledging our elderly, the need for supporting them with respect and love, and the need for recognizing those who may be retired but are not tired of making a difference in the lives of people around them. Let's take a look at this AV to know more about the Senior Citizen Awards.
A young country in an aging world, the soon-to-be world's youngest nation, India's young population is its biggest advantage. India, a country that celebrates the power of youth and expects its generation next to lead its transformation into a superpower. While we have much to feel happy about the demographic potential that our young population offers, why is it that when we talk of our aging population, the debate only revolves around the problems and costs of supporting the growing number of older people? Why do we fail to recognize the contribution of the working elderly? Why do we not celebrate the inspiring stories of our senior citizens? Instead of considering them a burden on the economy, there's a need to look at them as partners in our nation's progress. Guided by this principle, CNN-IBN, in association with Paranjpe Schemes, presents Senior Citizen Awards, the Unstoppables.
The whole idea of giving awards, I feel, is to showcase those senior citizens, you can say them as unsung heroes actually, who has precisely done this. Even, the age is not with them. They have become a role model. They have really worked hard and they have given back to the society.
The CNN-IBN team searched the length and breadth of the country to find those inspirational over 60 individuals who have not let age stop them from improving the lives of people around them. Chosen by the IBN editorial board, these 12 individuals will stand as an inspiration to the youth of today in taking the nation to greater heights. So join us as we honor these ageless achievers at the first ever Senior Citizen Awards.
Well, time now to introduce you to a very special panel of guests. I welcome to the studio Dr. Kiran Bedi, first woman IPS officer, winner of the Magsaysay Awards and now an activist. Mr. Dilip Cherian, guru of public relations and branding in the country. Commodore Lokesh Batra, an acclaimed RTI activist. Welcome you, sir. And Mr. Shashank Paranjpe, managing director, Paranjpe Schemes. I welcome you all. Ma'am, my first question is to you. We have seen more of you post your so-called retirement. How has it been for you? And did it ever occur that age is restrictive?
Well, you see me more because you people are more there. I am what I was. This is the way I lived my service all through my career. Then we were all much more in the print rather than in the visual. But I tell you, this is an attitude. The way of living is an attitude. I don't feel my age at all. I feel as energetic as I was because that's the style of living. You eat right, you think right, you work out right, and you contribute. And so I think it's, first of all, it's very, very important to have a lifestyle starting early in your life because it then grows with you. And then when you are post your work, you then create your own lifestyle and based on what you always believed in.
Mr. Cherian, do you think in our country the senior citizenship hits everybody with a certain stereotypical norms and cliches?
I guess there is...
You feel older than you already are.
I guess there is a certain level of ageism in our society. While on one hand we venerate the old, but the way term venerate means you put them on a pedestal and they're out of action. But Ms. Bedi and others have shown that there's much more action left in them. And what is going to happen is that going ahead, if you look at 20 years hence in India, we are going to be also, unlike other countries, also facing simultaneously the problem of lots of young and lots of the old. If you look after your body, if you take care of it, and if you put your savings right, as long as health doesn't fail you, you're actually going to have the double whammy of a huge generation of people who will also be as productive, perhaps not looking for profits and for immediacy, but willing to throw back into society the things this society so desperately needs today. You know, very often we think that what will they do? They can actually do selflessly much more than many other people can, because they've done the bits they really wanted to do professionally. Now there are things that need to be done either nationally or personally, and either is great, but it requires infrastructure, it requires planning, and I don't see, like in every other sphere, I don't see enough planning going on, and resources need to be put into it, and people need to invest early in it. The problem is people think of it too late.
Yeah. Commodore Batra, you are an RTI activist. It's an exhaustive cause. You are a part of it in a big way. So did you ever feel your age restricted you from participating in this
Not
cause?
really, not really.
What has your experience been like?
This is a very good experience because I call it, I mean, in fact, I keep telling media, don't call it a weapon. RTI is a tool which is made available to public to participate. Now we are talking of today retirement, and you talked of it. Retirement itself definition is not very clear when you change over from one state to another state. I mean, that's what the retirement is all about. Now, when you have grown in a particular field, you are specialized in that field. Now, if you say retired and sitting at home, you are wasting a rich human resource.
True.
System should, our governance should work on such a way that this rich human resource should be utilized for participation and bringing changes.
Mr. Paranjpe, recognition and respect is something that sometimes senior citizens miss here, but one of the things that they find themselves in is the loneliness. Do you think a lot of times we spend too much time focusing on our children and find ourselves really lonely once they grow up and without a personal mission at that stage in life?
Yeah, I think loneliness is one of the biggest problems what seniors are facing. The problem lies with the younger generation, actually. The younger generation wants their seniors to do exactly what they want, and they don't think what seniors want to do. That is the major problem. Due to various reasons, joint family system, at least in urban India, is breaking. Might be because of industrialization, migration, or sheer because even the ladies are empowered now, the education levels are high. The seniors want to have their own space, own way of how they would spend the good time. And I think that's where we need to focus on.
Dr. Bedi, do you feel that when we are young, we don't plan enough what we will do in our older age, and also not talking from financial aspect, but you know, the quality of life. Do we plan our lives thinking our old age in mind?
You see, our education does not, education makes us employable, but education doesn't. If education also teaches us about life and living, then you will look at a whole lifestyle, and we all have a span. Nobody lives forever. We all have. Now that kind of a value system has to come with your career planning. Just as you planning your career, you also plan life and living. You don't live for a career. The career is for you. While I did policing, I also did community service along with it. Along with community service, also did writing work. Also did with writing, also kept up sports. So once you continue with all your varied interests, as you give up your career, there are many other things which open up for you, and there is so much more to do. It's very important that this country goes in for strong voluntarism. India is rich in experience. Look, we all have an experience to put it on table. And most of us may not be working for money anymore. We want to give. But where do we give? If we have not created our own island of giving, where do we give? So that's frustration when. Therefore, that giving must start early in your career so that when you grow up, you have so much to give. But everybody is not that far ahead. Why don't we have in the government systems of voluntarism where you enlist, I want to be a teacher. I want to be a consultant. I want to be in security. I want to be healthcare, volunteer. Volunteer, and you go into healthcare in a village or an area which you close by, and somewhere the social justice, the district magistracy, etc., should coordinate this volunteerism. Why should we lose this, as has been said, this precious experience? And that is what Mr. Pranchbay said. You know what? It will narrow your generational gap, because then you're giving. Yeah. And you're working with the younger generation, and you are telling stories, you're teaching English,
inspiring
you're
them,
teaching mathematics, you're doing something else. So you are bringing the generational gap, narrowing it. I think this is how we can look at, as Mr. Cherian very rightly said, you're heading for a very large bulge of the seniors too.
Let me take a short break here. We slip into a short break, but when we come back, we talk more about how senior citizenship can be made more qualitative, engaging and inspiring. Stay tuned.
मेरी उम्र कितनी है ये मुझे कभी याद नहीं होता. कोई याद दिलाते हैं मेरे बर्थडे पे तब याद आता है. लेकिन मेरा काम मैं वैसे ही करती हूँ जैसे मैं 40 साल पहले करती थी या 20 साल पहले करती थी. तो उम्र का और काम का कोई संबंध नहीं है, हम लोग करते ही.
Alone but not lonely. Well past their retirement years, these senior citizens have got a new lease of life at Paranjpe's Athashri Housing Society in Pune. From the morning aarti to gym, from bridge games to snooker, Athashri is always abuzz with activity.
We have a nice accommodation. We have reasonably enough money to live comfortably. We have got all like-minded people about, similar background and similar education and all that. So we are very happy here, very comfortable.
From sprawling lawns, swimming pools to lifts that accommodate wheelchairs, the Athashri housing project has covered every detail. The healthcare centre even tends to every medical emergency that might come up.
Accessibility for me to get around in a wheelchair, I cannot even stand up. So for a person like me, the facilities are so good. I can be independent. My husband can go travel for a few days if he wants to.
Our joint family system is breaking. It's unfortunate, but it's breaking and it's irreversible. Nobody is going to stop that. We need to come up with some solutions to tackle the problems which senior citizens are facing, especially those senior citizens who are staying alone, or there is nobody to take care of them. And these type of projects actually address to all of these problems.
Like Athashri has changed the lives of these senior citizens, they too have contributed to changing the lives of many at this village in Tamhini. From helping set up this school to healthcare centres and contributing overall to the development of the village, they have done it all in the second innings of their lives.
अथसरी वाले स्कूल से सन 2001 से ज्वाइन हो गए और उन्होंने रूरल डेवलपमेंट के अंतर्गत गांव में बहुत सारा काम किया. उसके साथ ही स्कूल को डेवलप करने के लिए पैसे के रूप में उन्होंने मदद दे दी. उसके साथ उनके ज्ञान और अनुभव का फ़ायदा हुआ. उन्होंने विज्ञान का साहित्य दे दिया. स्कूल को लगने वाला जो भी फर्नीचर था वो दे दिया. कपाट दे दिए. गांव के लोगों के लिए टॉयलेट्स बनवा दी. उसके साथ औरतों का बचत गट के द्वारा उनका काम चलाया जाता है. ऐसा बहुत सारा काम अथसरी के द्वारा किया गया है.
The smiles on these children's faces, the senior citizens say, is all the reward they need.
Welcome back. Let's take the discussion forward and talk about how we as a society look at old age and how things may be changing for good. Commodore Batra, how do you think the youth react towards older citizenship? Are they sensitive? Are we as a society sensitive towards the requirement, the needs of the elderly? And do you see a change from past?
Before I go to the past, let me say, you see, it's a respect for an individual. Now when we start talking about the elders, it is same thing. In fact, to me, advocacy and certain counseling required for elders. because they must now come down to, what is the requirement of the generation. You can't live in this, I did this and it must be done that way. The things have changed, technology has changed, people are much more wiser. What we were at that particular age, they are much more knowledgeable. And there is an interaction is less, especially at school levels. I know some schools have started grandparents adopting system. When they have an annual function, it's only grandparents allowed, not the parents allowed. Then they would reach there. But these kind of interaction will bring a lot of change, At the right from the beginning, the respect for human being.
What are the expectations from younger generation when it comes to treating the elderly in the right way?
Every 6th person in the world is Indian now, and every Indian is going to be old. So what we are talking about is large number of seniors. As I said earlier, the younger generation should give seniors what they want to do, number one. If they want to stay alone, let them stay alone. And don't force them possibly to stay together. If you can stay together, that's beautiful. I think the other thing what you need to do is teach seniors, develop their skill sets. For example, your grandson can teach you how to use smart mobile, which is, I think, a great tool in the hands of senior citizens. Or, you can teach your mother how to use a computer. I'm talking about urban India at least. And that skill development is very essential. And the younger generation can certainly do that. And they should give their elders a very dignified, hassle-free life.
Mr. Chairman, is there enough infrastructure in our country which is old age friendly?
I think we are woefully short on that. There's no doubt. And I think it's one thing to say government should do it, but I think that as a community, as a society, we don't have the psychological infrastructure, we don't have the physical infrastructure. And what we do have as a result of a lot of private intervention is, to some extent, at least in urban areas, a monetary infrastructure where the old have a variety of schemes where they can save for and buy insurance and all that. But psychological and physical infrastructure, no. And it's a job of every individual, of every institution, just simple things like easier access points, enough spaces where they can just wander off, get some natural light, all of that. And we don't recognize that this kind of physical infrastructure is expensive to create, but with the right planning, it can be built in from the very start. But most importantly, this is an infrastructure. Old people are an infrastructure which we should actually use quite well.
Dr. Bedi, how can the youth be more involved in this process?
I was thinking, that's why I suggested, I wish the government had a website, volunteer here, teacher, Manrega is a great scheme. You need accounts there, you need manager. Why not take senior citizens? Why not take retired people who may be ex-servicemen or others? So why not involve them? You get a full 40 years of experience in management. Somebody may need to do an audit of that work. So it's a coming together of youth. So here can be a government initiative where they say you need to involve at least 10, it's like talent search in that village. You can use technology and you should know a talent search, who is who, a retired teacher, so a retired engineer, a retired somebody who is in construction. So why waste that infrastructure? It's earned at such a valuable cost to they are wealth of the nation.
Mr. Paranjpe, how will Senior Citizens Award make a difference?
I think it will act as a catalyst for those senior citizens who want to give back to the society. You are encouraging and giving awards to the senior citizens who are after retirement doing a great social service. A lot of seniors, as Kiranji rightly said, wants to give back to the society, but they not all of them are leaders. So this actually awards will encourage them to actively participate in social work, and by that they themselves will get meaningful life or meaning to their life.
Well, on that wonderful note, sir, we end this curtain raiser episode on Senior Citizens Award. Over the next few weeks, CNN-IBN will showcase 12 very special stories of over 60 men and women who live an inspiring life that stands apart and motivates others. Thanks for watching.